Okay, let me just get ready here. So, let me see which one's it. My personal QS story is a girl meets geek story. It began back in 1995 when I was an actor, recently moved to California, when I met an intriguing scientist and entrepreneur who was what I later came to realize a data whore. So we played together, we danced, and sometimes on our dates he even taught me a bit of math that I missed in high school. Eventually we got married, and mostly his geekiness was kind of intriguing to me, but when he started tracking my birthing contractions and my menses, I realized that I better start tracking personal data myself, or else this might happen. So now, I have been tracking for quite a while, and I've experienced varying degrees of success. And mostly I have to say I'm a terrible self-tracker. I try to track way too many things. I'm horrible at correlating the data. I confuse the variables, and I keep on tracking data anyway. So my story is really a bit of an everyone's story. It's a layperson's QS, and I'm here to say that I truly believe that if it's kept fun and intriguing, self-tracking, even if it's imperfect self-tracking, is better than no tracking at all. So one of the things I'm trying to work on, and I've been working on it for quite a few years, is to get back to my ideal weight of 135 pounds, which I've slowly migrated from to the tune of about 10 pounds a year for the last couple decades. And on this, I know that I'm not alone. According to Web-Based 43 Things, the self-described largest goal-setting website, the all-time most popular goal shared by close to 41,000 people is to lose weight. And apparently, for many people, wanting to lose weight rates higher than wanting to get out of debt, wanting to build a house, wanting to write a book, travel the world. For me personally, my highest priorities are really around loving and homeschooling my kids, as well as recreating learning for all learners everywhere. But somehow, in the midst of all that, I still spend quite a bit of time tracking weight and the variables that I think must be related to it. So I've tried a number of different Excel approaches, this with varying degrees of success. This one definitely represents the very far low end of the effectiveness continuum, generating exactly one data point prior to abandonment. Next, I tracked my weight with pen and paper. I put a clipboard, pen and paper in the bathroom, and this approach generated quite a few more data points, but unfortunately I can't show them to you because they are somewhere in there. Then I tried a cooler, way more complex spreadsheet. This one was awesome. It started in 2007. It was designed to help me for the manual input of weight, food notes, menses, exercise, and it had this super cool formula that was going to tell me when I should eat, when I should fast. Once it hits the dotted red line, that's the time I was supposed to start fasting. And if I hit the bottom, the dotted blue line, that's when I could eat more that day. That never happened. From a data acquisition point of view, it was a bit more, it was a little bit more useful, or a little bit more effective. It was supposed to take me on this downward path towards my ideal weight, but even though I captured 56 data points, even though I captured 56 data points, I abandoned it after 2 months. So it was essentially a failure in terms of consistency and longevity of data acquisition. It was also a failure in terms of results, in that I kind of flatlined on it, on my weight loss. More recently, I went a little bit crazy with a Google Doc, and I attempted to track 21 variables. The only way that tracking 21 variables was even possible, this is supposed to start. Why is it starting? The only way, hold on a sec, give me a second, do this manually.
Medium not found.
Oh, anyway, okay, I'll just carry on. So it was going to track 21 variables. This was showing me inputting the data, and then it manually uploads to my Google Docs. Why isn't it going forward? What? So this approach lasted twice as long, and it had a pretty good tracking consistency. And I still use this form, although I use it regularly, but I don't count on the data. I consider it an adjunct. And through this system, I found myself going down about 3 pounds. which is just about where my goal was, looking at 10 pounds over the course of 2 years. So there was a slight improvement in that one. Now enter the Withings scale. This is a device that allows the user to simply step on it. It tracks weight and BMI, and it uploads the information wirelessly to a web app, which can then be accessed and manipulated on the computer or on the iPhone. So, why do I say success on this one? I consider the success to be twofold. Whoops, sorry. My slides are probably messy. So what I mean by success is that I consider success to be on 3 counts in this one. The first 2 have to do with the tracking itself. The ease of the use of scale resulted in me being able to have the longest and the most regular data acquisition that I've been able to maintain. And the third measure of success is the weight loss itself, which was about 11 pounds, which is not exactly where I want to be, but it's still encouraging. So why did this scale work for me in terms of weight loss? I believe it was effective because it softened the emotional reactivity that sometimes comes, probably not for any of you, but for me, with trying to lose weight. Sorry. So here's how it's worked for me in the past. I'm doing okay, I'm tracking my weight, I'm getting on the scale, maybe there's some few fluctuations here and there, and then one day I step on the scale, and bang, the number goes up. So what happens? I feel like this, and then I feel like this. Now, I know this probably isn't true for any of you, but for me, rather than shooting the scale, I sometimes just throw up my hands, I give up all the lifestyle changes I've been determined to make, and sometimes I maybe even head to the refrigerator. And so how's the Withings scale different? For one thing, it allows various viewing options. In the screenshot you're looking at, this is 3 to 4 weeks of data, and the pink line is the raw weight data, it's my raw weight, and the white line is an automatically generated smoothing function that averages out the trend for that particular period of time. So in spite of a 4.2 weight differential on that slide, and about a 6.6 pound differential on this one, and I think a 7 pound one on this one, overall the smoothing function makes you realize that, okay, you're still doing okay. There's no need to get upset or to give up hope. So even in this view, you can see where my weight actually leapt up 3.4 pounds over the course of 4 days. If you view it in the context of 3 to 4 weeks, okay, I'm pretty fine. So here's what it looks like if you look at all these data over a 17-month period. This is 484 data points over 17 months. The green line represents the average, and you can see that I average downward. So with a total weight loss of about 11 pounds, you probably noticed I didn't mention any of the lifestyle changes I made, and I did make lifestyle changes, but that wasn't the focus of this particular talk. So the things I've learned very quickly are, my primary takeaways is the easiest tracking method that yields the most in terms of data, and that if I focus on the moving averages rather than individual data, my motivation is preserved, and that keeps me tracking. I've also learned that if I'm tracking, I do better. So there's an element of the tracking success equals goal success.
So Lisa's actually obviously addressing the issues of the right tracking system for yourselves, and also dealing with the emotional roller coaster of tracking if you're not achieving your goals. So questions for Lisa?
Yeah, Robin.
How did you establish your goal? Like what
You mean, how did I establish that I wanted to lose weight?
How did you pick your target weight?
Well, I think that that's part of the process too. The whole thing is a bit of a conversation for me with myself. And I think that sometimes I just was working, okay, I just want to lose weight. I just gotta get back to myself. And I try really hard to lose a lot of weight, and that wouldn't really work because I'd give up, or I'd stop tracking, or I'd get discouraged. So I think what happened was I realized that if it was slow, at some point I just got that personal self-awareness that was, okay, I gained this weight really slowly, so why am I trying to lose it quickly? I might as well just lose it slowly. And that was very connected to the smoothing function. That was very connected to getting away from the moment-to-moment daily kind of roller coaster of, so it sort of evolved with the process that I have 10 pounds a year is about what I'm looking for. And I think that, I'd say that was fairly recent after a lot of failures. Yeah. Yes?
So it sounds like one thing that the smoothing function did is it gave you that reward of it going down, which encouraged you. So the question is, if that was a stronger reward than the roller coaster,
Why did I keep?
if it gradually went up instead, would it be?
You know, the truth is, when I was working on the presentation, I really wanted to put in another piece that just started getting too complicated, and that piece was the difference between the data from when I was tracking. There's big chunks of time when I wasn't tracking. The honest truth is that whatever I'm tracking, it trends down, and then there's a big chunk where I don't track, and then maybe it leaps up, and then it sort of trends down again. So I really believe that there is a connection between the tracking and my ability to stay in the conversation with myself on it. So I don't have any trending up, except for a couple times when you saw in that 17. There's a couple times when if I look at the long haul, I go, oh, okay, I actually am trending up here. But mostly I don't see that until quite a bit after the fact too. And then I am doing some conversation with myself about, okay, what happened here? Oh, you know, when I went to Thailand, it trended down. I was expecting it to go up because I was starting to eat carbs that I hadn't eaten before, but then I was thinking, well, maybe it's because I wasn't eating wheat. Maybe so I started to explore with that. So there's one point that it goes up that I was recovering from a stomach flu. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I would say there's not that many really common trending up when I'm tracking. Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed this talk. I was thinking, like, I gave a talk on a mindful experiment on weight loss in October, and I've gained 10 pounds since then. And Kelly McGonigal gave a talk showing that, like, there's research showing if you give people feedback on making progress on a goal, it actually undercuts their commitment to that goal, because it's pretty similar to, like, the Prius effect that Dan Ariely talks about, where people feel they have this halo of good performance, and then that gives them the entitlement to slack off. What I don't think I can figure out from your talk is what's the right kind of signal to provide somebody so that
it might be different for every person.
You don't end up feeling like you deserve something because you're making progress on your goal.
I mean, I think that probably depends on every person. If I look at a couple of days and it's going down, I'm much more likely to be, again, in that roller coaster ride, like, okay, doing well. But if I'm looking at over, this feels like a much bigger investment if I see that, okay, over the course of 6 months, I've gone down. I don't think if I see a trend down over 6 months that I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, now I'm going to go. I feel much more relationship with the fact that, okay, I'm going in the direction I want. It feels like a bigger investment when I'm looking at it for 6 months. Yeah.
So you basically have succeeded quite well at the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, you know, like I said, I'm 11 pounds down over 17 months. I was aiming for 10 pounds a year, so it's not exactly where I wanted to be, but I'm going in the right direction, yeah.
So do you feel, can you notice, like, a qualitative difference in, like, your emotions or your body, or, you know, is it
specifically related to that?
Yeah. Like, so
well, I did do a talk one time with Joe where I talked about there being a correlation between my sex life and my weight. I don't know that I could sort of support that at this point from this conversation. I don't know. I mean,
I don't mean supported by the data. I just mean intuitively.
I don't know, because I can't separate it from so many other things in my life.
So it's just there's too many factors.
Really hard. It's like one of those confounding variable things. Like, how do you, you know, I track all my data around happiness and calm and anxiety and all that stuff, but I don't necessarily know I can correlate because there's so many things, so much noise on it. So,
yes. In the next speaker setup.
Did you say you also track BMI?
Yeah,
and did that require extra effort?
Well, the BMI is tracked also by the Whitney scale.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay.
It tracks fat, BMI, weight, and, you know, body fat and lean mass.
Okay, but weight was your goal.
Weight was what I was looking. I originally started out, that was another part of my talk. I started out trying to either lose 20 pounds or change my body composition. But the truth is, weight was easy to track, so that's the thing I started focusing on. For me, body mass, I went and did that body thing where they take all the body composition and you pay $60. Jim Ferriss talks about it in his book. I did that once, but I never got around to going again. And so I focused on weight because it was the thing that was easy to track. Yes, Nima, last question.
I think we could learn a lot from your talk. It was really insightful. What were you doing differently? What behavior was changing?
What were some of the changes?
Yeah.
At one point in the graph, I quit drinking alcohol. I think that had a little bit of an impact, although I don't think it's for the I think it's, a lot of people told me, oh, I lose weight from quitting drinking for alcohol. I actually think it's because my consciousness and my connection with my eating changed when I stopped drinking alcohol.
What does that mean?
I think I was a little bit likely to go, screw it. So I was stuck more with my plan. Thank you very much.